I'd like to welcome our next guest to Discover Janesville, Jim McMullen. Jim, you're involved in so many things, I'm not even sure how to introduce you. What does it say on your business card?
My official title is I'm the Development Director at KANDU Industries.
And then, let's see, and then on top of that, that's just, that's your day job, right?
Right, that's my work.
That's your work. And as if that wasn't enough, you're in Volunteer of the Year. A couple of years ago, you were selected as Volunteer of the Year by Forward Janesville. And this year you were honored as Goodwill Ambassador. And you're also involved with Janesville Noon Lions. You're involved with the Kiwanis Club. And you are just Mr. Volunteer as far as I can tell. But you're clearly very passionate about it.
I think that's the key for all of us. The more that we can find those things that we're truly interested in and excited about, then it's not work. It just comes naturally.
How did you determine that that's the direction you wanted to go in?
I'm kind of from the early spectrum to the end of life spectrum. I do volunteer work with children to hospice care for the elderly. So I really believe it's connecting with those things that really
Is there some kind of a, overarching goal that you're saying this fits into what I'm trying to do, or do you just have a hard time saying no?
I'm learning to say no better.
Good.
And I'm much better at that in the last few years. I think really I jokingly, Yuri, say that it's selfishness on my part. I pick those things that I'm truly interested in. It might be that, for example, when my grandmother was dying, we had people that came into the home and helped us through that process. After that, I chose to be involved with hospice care. So
I see.
There's no set.
So there's maybe an experience or something that you come in contact with a situation, you feel like you want to take more part in it.
Yes, or if you hear of something and then you hear the impact of what that involvement, how that will impact a group of people or an organization or the community, then yes, you make that decision. That sounds exciting. I think what's troublesome to me is when people say, well, wouldn't it be great if? And it's like, well, if you really feel that way, then what do we do? How do we mobilize resources? How do we get people involved and get her done?
Right, instead of saying if, saying how.
Yeah, exactly. And I think sometimes it's just getting, it can be that one person to say, that's great, let's do it. And then, it kind of like that build it and they will come mentality. If you just get someone involved, it happens, and it's not hard.
Then why aren't more people doing it?
I think more and more people are doing it. I don't know if this will answer your question, but I think that's where it's an amazing, wonderful challenge as a parent, is to include volunteerism and the idea of civic responsibility and how you get involved in your community with children at a young age.
I see.
I don't have children, but when I was very young, that was important in our family, and I started doing volunteer work when I was very, very young. In fact, I believe that molded my career, even working at KANDU Industries. When I first went to college, I was going to be a business student, so I thought. But I continued to do volunteer work, and it was like, well, yes, being honest, there's great money in business, and I did well in school, but my heart wasn't in it. And so, and I'm not saying anything about business. We all need business. But for me, I know I would have a very hard time not doing work that was part of fulfilling a mission. And so I'm not saying everybody's interested in that kind of work, but to me, how we work and making a living, we all have to work and support ourselves and our families. Right. That's making a living. I think we make a life by those things that we do that connect us to, our neighbors, whether it's your church, your family.
Well, and hopefully you can find things that are a combination of those things.
Exactly.
Something that helps you, but at the same time helps you put bread on the table.
Exactly.
So, it sounds like your work at KANDU is part of that as well, because
for me, it is. I feel completely blessed, very, very lucky to have the opportunities that I have. And again, as I get older and I see other people in the community, I think people are rising to the occasion. And that's where, too, like being involved even in organizations like the Boys and Girls Club and Junior Achievement, even just having children see volunteers come in and spend time with them, you know, at least it's my hope, but I know there are occasions where, you know, the kids are asking, you know, well, you know, why do you do this? Oh, because I just really enjoy it. And so think about it, when you're older, if there's something that you really enjoy and you can, you know, volunteer, I hope that you will do that. Or I'll ask kids, you know, what kinds of things do you think you'd be interested in volunteering? And of course, you know, it's like, I'd volunteer at the fire station or whatever it is.
I see.
But I think it's getting that mentality.
Exactly, developing that mindset at an early age,
yeah.
that being involved and helping out is a good thing to do. And it seems like the more you give, and I'm just kind of listening to you, the more you give, the more fulfilled you feel.
Yep. Yep. I always think that's a little cliche, you know, oh, gee, you give and I get more out of it than, you know, than you give. But
it's
that's
only
very
a cliche
true.
if you don't mean it.
Yeah, yeah, well, true. And I do think it is very true. The relationships that you develop and the meaning that it brings back to you. And I think that's the thing. You know, I had a very wise person tell me once when I was at a training seminar back in my real estate days, you know, what do you want people to say about you when you're at the end of your life, you know, wow, he really saved us on the bottom, you know, dollars on the bottom line.
Right, he sold more homes than anyone.
Yeah, or you know, what is it that you want to be
Right.
known for? And that really hit me because what impact does your life have? Or what impact do you want your life to have?
Right.
Try to live that. It's not always easy, you know, time-wise, but I think that's also kind of the idea, you know, if you have a big bowl and you put in the boulders or the sand, you know, it's like, I think the sand is all the things that eat up the hours and minutes of our day.
Okay.
But it's like picking those boulders, you know, those things that you're especially interested in and want to make a difference, and then making sure that you get those boulders in there first.
So let me ask you this. I don't get the feeling that you're done picking up the boulders. I think
you're never done. You're never done.
That's right. So I think there's more, I can only presume there's more things that you would like to do that you haven't done yet.
Let me ask you a question, Yuri. You're on city council. Did you set out, what, 10, 20 years ago, I'm going to be on city council one day?
In Janesville.
Yeah. Did you?
No, I did not.
Right. You learned of an opportunity.
Okay.
You wanted to have an impact, and now you're doing it. So
it's more about, if I understand you correctly, there's a direction that you're moving in. Mm-hmm. And things that you find as you move in that direction, those are the things that you do versus saying, I want to get to a certain goal.
Right. Yeah, I honestly, I couldn't tell you what I'll be doing 10 years from now. I don't know. I even say that as far as career. You know, right now I'm very fulfilled in my career, but you know, if you wake up one day and you know, honestly I have days where I think of needs. And you know, wouldn't it be exciting and fulfilling to, you know, have the opportunity to go off in some other direction? Maybe one day that'll happen. You know, who knows? But I think it's not closing yourself to, I guess, those callings. I mean, not to sound goofy, but if something is just really hitting you as a strong need and you're really excited about it, I think we should.
Well, it's like that commercial, I think, on TV where it says, don't wait to go to school, don't think about it, do it now. And it's kind of, the volunteerism, mm-hmm. I think, is the same way, where if something is important to you, don't think how you're going to do it sometime mm-hmm. down the road when you retire. Find a way to do that mm-hmm. at this point.
Yep.
So
it's, again, getting the boulders in. I guess right. I'm so worried about, or when I see people that say, oh, you know, one day I hope to. And I'm always challenging, okay, why aren't you doing it now? You know, and I realize we all have busy lives.
Maybe the first step is to identify the boulder and then yeah. find a way how you can get those things done sooner.
Yep.
Jim, thank you so much for joining us and Discover Janesville. It's been a great pleasure.
Thank you. Appreciate it.